mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, only those who are already very sincere know that they are not completely sincere. In a quiet silence, strength is restored. Always with love and my blessings, says our Divine Mother. Words of our Divine Mother from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Question and Answers, Volume 7, page 10, continuation. Sri Aurobindo writes, one must not enter on this path, for vaster and more arduous than most of the ways of yoga, unless one is sure of the psychic call and of one's readiness to go through to the end. Lights on Yoga, page 6. For this, our Divine Mother says, one can have a very good will, a fifth directed towards a divine realization, a kind of self-consecration, more or less superficial to a divine work. But between that and doing yoga, there is a great difference. To do Sri Aurobindo's yoga means to ask for an integral transformation, to have one single aim in life so that nothing else exists except that. Our Divine Mother says, when you say, I want to do yoga, when you say, I want to do yoga, you must know what you have decided upon. To all who come to me and want to enter on this path, I say, unless I am absolutely sure of them, because it is written in their destiny that they are come for that, I say always, think over, be quite sure that it is this that you want and that you have the inner certainty that it is for this purpose that you have come upon earth. Our Divine Mother says, for it is not an easy path. Time is needed, patience is needed, much endurance and much perseverance and courage and an indefatigable goodwill. If you feel capable of having those qualities, start on the way. But once you have started, it is finished. You do not fall back. You must go to the end. That is why one must take a resolution knowing fully what he is doing. As soon as you have set your foot on the path, everything changes within you. Outwardly, the conditions remain similar to those of others, but within there is a great difference. A consciousness is there that works constantly. A consciousness is there that works constantly to correct your position, places in the light the obstacles that impede or stop your progress, causes you to get, so to say, a knock on your nose against your own error and blindness. There is a kind of absoluteness in the consciousness which does not allow you to derive or deviate from the path. There is a kind of absoluteness in the consciousness which does not allow you to deviate from the path, but it is so only for those who have decided to do yoga.
None answered in that bright, contented world, but some murmured passers-by from kindred sphere, each by his credo judged the thoughts he spoke. Who then is this who knows not that the soul is at least grand, all her secretions fall, but others, nay, it is her spirit she seeks, but none has touched its limits or seen its face. Another with mystic and unsatisfied eyes, who loved his slain belief and mourned its death. Is there one left who sees beyond? Can still the past be found? Opens the gate.
Our Divine Mother says, for others, the consciousness acts like a light, a knowledge, a protection, a force of progress, so that they may reach the maximum of their capacities, grow as far as possible in an atmosphere as favorable as possible, leaving them completely free in their choice. All of you here, my children, says our Divine Mother, all of you here, my children, you live in an exceptional liberty. Outwardly, there are few petty limitations because you are numerous and you have not the entire earth at your disposal. You must submit to some discipline to a certain extent so that there may not be too much disorder. But within yourself, you live in the marvelous liberty. There are no social or moral or intellectual compulsion, no principles even. Only a light is there. If you wish to profit by it, you profit. If you do not wish to profit by it, you are free not to profit. But the day you have made your choice, and you have made it in all sincerity, when you have felt within you a radical decision, then it is different. There is the light and the way to follow, all straight, there is no turning aside. Our Divine Mother says yoga is not a joke. When you choose it, you must know what you do. Once you've chosen it, you must stick to it. You have no right to waver. You must go through. All I ask of you who do not take up yoga is the will to do their best and effort towards progress and the desire to be in life something better than what ordinary humanity is. A Divine Mother says, you have grown up. You have developed under condition exceptionally luminous, conscious, harmonious, and full of goodwill. In response to such conditions, be in the world an expression of this light, this harmony, this goodwill. To do this yoga, says our Divine Mother, to do this yoga, the yoga of transformation, which is the most arduous of all things, is possible only if you feel that you have come here for that. I mean, upon earth, that for you nothing else is worth doing, that this is the very reason of your existence. Even if you have to labor, suffer, struggle, it is of no importance. For you want that realization and nothing else. Once you have set your foot on the path of yoga, once you have set your foot on the path of yoga, you must have an iron resolution and walk straight to the goal at any cost, says our Divine Mother. Question, sweet mother. When one stops on the way, one falls back. Is it for the whole of the present life? For this, a Divine Mother says, there are many different cases, and that depends upon the nature of the falling back. If it is a small falling back, a small stoppage, you can start again. But it is 10 times more difficult than before. The child says, why? A Divine Mother says, why? Because it is like that. Because you have accumulated the obstacles in you by your slackness and weakness. All the difficulties that you meet and that you have to conquer are so many spiritual examinations which you must pass. If you fail in your examination, the next one will become much more difficult. It is a general occult law and none can escape it. Note also that under present conditions, you are not informed beforehand, and that makes it more difficult to pass the examination. In old times, the aspirants were told, now prepare yourself. You have now to go through terrible trials. Forewarned, a man forewarned is worth 10 men, they say. One knew that it was a trial, and that made it easier.
Silent said, to her road she came, thronged with an ardent crowd. Guests from the cavern of the secret soul, and Savitri mingling in that glorious crowd, longed once to hasten like them to save God's word. Outstretching her hands to stay the throng, she cried, "O happy company of luminous gods, reveal who know the road that I must tread to find the birthplace of the occult far and the deep mansion of my secret soul."
Our Divine Mother says, at present it is life itself, the everyday circumstance that are the trials that one has to pass. Some feel instinctively that they are in front of a decision that is to be taken, a special effort that is to be made. They make this effort within themselves and they take the step. They have then a much greater force to meet the next trial. On the other hand, says our Divine Mother, if you are blind, ignorant, stupid, of bad will, instead of accepting the trial that presents itself, you revolt and refuse, then you have failed in your examination. On the next occasion, you will have not only to put an effort to surmount the obstacle, you have also to repair the harm you have done to yourself, and naturally it will be much more difficult. Our Divine Mother says, it is better to go forward at any cost and endeavor not to stop too often on the way, for it is easier to continue, even if it is hard, than to begin again once you stop. When you are at a critical moment of your self-development and when it is absolutely necessary for you to surmount the obstacle in order to advance, then there are always two possibilities. Take the forward step and immediately you make a tremendous progress. Otherwise, you leave it alone and there happens more than a stoppage, even more than a falling back. It may be a serious downfall into the precipice, and there are falls from which one cannot rise again. In that case, it is 1/5 lost. Yet, in such extreme cases, if there is somewhere in the being besides the part that has wavered and fallen, a turning flame, and if one is ready for everything, for whatever suffering, whatever endeavor, whatever sacrifice possible, to mend what one has done, to climb back from the bottom of the precipice and finds again the way, one can do it. That flame is capable of calling down the grace, and with grace nothing is impossible.